Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Rob Baer, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Wyatt Turk. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Hey, what's up?
So it's been an exciting day. We're rebranding this podcast to the Marvel Crisis Protocol / Titanicus podcast.
I knew you were going to make a joke like that. I already thought of a great name. So instead of The Long War, it's Secret Wars.
Ooh, Secret War.
The Long War / Secret Wars.
How did you guys already move from cabals and balls so fast?
Oh, no, we're coming back to it.
Yeah. Like any good joke, you have to have a callback.
Yeah, but anyone listening to the podcast won't know it's a callback unless you establish it here at the front of the show.
Well, got to incentivize them to watch the pre-show.
Yeah, you got to go to the future.
So if you're driving to work on Monday and you didn't watch the pre-show, we talked about balls for like 45 fucking minutes.
It's true.
That is a fact. And Wyatt's back from the California Team Championships.
Me too. I drove out there and I came back.
That is a lie. Rob was not there.
I wasn't there, and neither was Haspel. It was disastrous.
I had to put in some work to get that team there.
You had to play like 4 games.
Yeah, he was playing. He was like that kid's playing like 3 chess games at once. It was just Wyatt just playing all these games.
No, I had to. So I got to give a big shout out to our friends over at Dice Check. So Demeki and Mark stepped up in our hour of need and filled in and crushed it out for us. So
you guys went 3-2.
We did. We went 3-2. I went 4-1, and Mark went 4-1. So like Mark's he had to like ice his back. He was carrying pretty hard.
Nice.
Like that.
You guys had placed 4th, but then like there was a point discrepancy, and you ended up being 5th.
Yeah. So when the event ended, we were 4th place, and then the next morning I was having to like very quickly trade emails with Nick as I was boarding my airplane because BCP is still a little janky when it comes to team events. And for some reason, our first round, when we played Hammerhead, so shout out to Hammerhead Games, the app recorded it as if everybody played 2 games instead of 1 game. So it was a little weird. Good. Yeah.
Strange, but still, congratulations, 5th place. I think you guys did better without me and Haspel.
Definitely did better without me.
Yeah, we did a great job, and I mean it's saying a lot because like there was a lot of talent in that room.
That scene
like
is
Dice Hammer like
sweaty.
rolls deep. They had like 3 teams, all of which were crushing it out. There was Team Zero Comp, our friends over at Frontline, and they won the tournament. So congrats to Junior and Frankie and the boys. Sorry, I've never met those guys, so I don't know their names. I just know Junior and Frankie, right? I'd say their names too. But, they won. And so it says a lot that, like, of the people on our team, I was the only person who had 9th edition experience, really.
Tournament experience, period.
Yeah, like Alan and Zach had, like, 2 practice games of 9e, period, before rolling up to this event. Demeki and Mark have been playing 9e for a while, but this is, like, their first ever, like, legit tournament, which is a totally different ball game than just like regular play, right?
And it's a different ball game in that ball game of tournaments because it's a team tournament.
Yeah, it's a team event, so there's even more.
So you don't get to. So it's not like you lose your first game and then you slide into a bracket that's more appropriate for you.
Yeah,
it is endlessly people trying to put a person against you to table you.
Yep.
So like it is the opposite of a normal tournament experience because we.
Yeah, we had a great time though. I got to give props to Nick and the Dice Hammer team for putting on such a great event. Got to see a lot of people I hadn't seen in a long time, so it was super fun.
Nice. That's half the fun of going to these things.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Truly. Thank you for the update. You want to tell Joe?
I do. Would you rather commit any crime and do 5 years in prison, or commit any crime but be on the run for the rest of your life.
In this scenario, do I suddenly have magic skills to make me good at being on the run and evading the authorities, or am I just still me?
No, you're you.
Oh.
Like you have to live in constant fear that they will find you.
And so also this is a user submission. And the way it was explained to me is that like you don't know that they know that you did the crime. But you did the crime, so it is possible that at some point they could find you and come after you. So you have to live in fear of that forever. Or I can do any crime that I pick.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like 5 years for any crime is pretty solid.
Am I successful at this crime?
Yeah, you commit the crime.
Do I magically say this is the crime I pick and the genie makes it happen, or do I still have to physically go do the crime at some point?
Yeah, you have to go do it.
What's my timer on actually completing the crime?
As much as you want. The only stipulation is you cannot wait until you're 90 years old and then go to prison in your last.
I accept those terms.
Years. Yeah,
I will do any crime for 5 years under those circumstances, 100%.
I feel like that's the smart play.
I will use the words as they have been explained to me, which is from the genie's own mouth. I cannot wait till I'm 90. So I will not.
90.
And I have to at least assume I'm operating in the spirit of my selection by planning a dope heist in some way. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, or it can be any crime. But obviously the advantage is that it could be any crime. So I could go and try to rob a bank vault and do whatever it takes. And I'm only facing 5. So I feel like I'm going to spend about the next 60 years. Well, I guess that's too many years. The next 40 years planning this epic heist. I'll probably do in this fiction, I've always thought it'd be dope to plan a robbery against one of those security trucks that's moving the big money.
Armored car?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, they really won't put up much resistance, I don't think.
Yeah, but it's also a very Fast and the Furious because it'd be some car play and stuff like that. So
you're going to get them while they're moving.
Gangster, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, you just watched that new Jason Statham movie and it goes into all sorts of detail.
Yeah, I'm going to have to just watch all this. So be an R&D department. I'm going to have to put some people in the right position. I'm about to, get some help from a couple of old friends. So in 40 years, I'll have a couple of old friends, you know what I'm saying? So that's part of, got to get the gang back together,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to make this epic for sure. And that's my answer.
Cool. Solid answer.
What do you think, Rob? What's going to be your crime?
Oh, what is my actual crime? There's so many to choose from.
I already had a fantasy crime, so I'm shocked that you don't.
I think it would definitely have a lot to do with computer information, doing the whole thumb drive, just getting in somewhere, getting out.
So you have to train yourself to be a prolific computer hacker over the next so you don't get 40 years.
I mean, a lot of
if
you can get access to a server room, you can straight get a ridiculous amount of information on a thumb drive.
So you're just gonna steal information? What kind of information?
I don't know, just good stuff. Stuff on people.
You're not even going to try to free Britney Spears?
She's got enough people looking out for her.
I mean, you're her biggest supporter though.
Not really. I mean, I would have got her out by now, but
I guess if that's true.
Yeah, I haven't put much energy into that, unfortunately. So I feel like I let her down a bit, but I'm not the only one, so it's okay, I guess.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people asking if they could keep the money, and I'm just
yeah.
If you get caught, I don't know any place that would be well, you robbed $1 billion, so that'll just be waiting for you in a checking account. They'll take it, but I never said you would be caught. It's just that if you got caught, you would do 5 years for any crime, or you would have to live under constant fear of them finding out it was you and tracking you down. So if you're good enough, you may not even be caught. But if you do, you have the pillar.
I have a get out of jail free card, which is spend 5 years in jail.
Yeah,
that's not what that is.
No, that's exactly what that is.
That's how it works.
I feel like I want one of those those motor coaches, so I can drive around out to the West Coast. So I need to need to fund
He's
that.
just gonna go steal an RV.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Some
just gonna
basic
go,
ass
RV.
fucking grand theft.
just drive it off the lot like at night or something. You know, I gotta find the place they sell them first. But
That's gonna be perfect because I could use a stolen car with fake tags for my operation.
Mm-hmm.
So come meet up with me. Because in 40
Yeah,
years,
like
I'm gonna need some help from a couple of friends. You know what I'm saying? I know a guy with a motor carriage that's like dope as shit. You know.
I'll pre-install
what's the Dracula monster truck driver?
The what?
The Dracula monster truck driver from that episode of Rick and Morty.
Oh, I don't know. What was his name?
Man, it's a
Truckula.
Bitch. Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Truckula. Son of a bitch.
Is that him? No.
Yeah.
Is that him? No, no. Is that him? No, wait. Yes, that's obviously him. That's Rob's gonna be my Truckula.
Oh man. Speaking of, did you guys watch the episode on Sunday? The new one?
Damn it.
It hasn't been that tight of a season. It's been pretty
I
slapstick.
thought they've all been like bangers. Like the one that was last weekend was really, really like high concept Rick and Morty stuff, and I thought it was really enjoyable.
I don't know if I'm up to that. The last one I watched was the Hellraiser episode.
Oh, okay. So you got like the Gotron episode and then this one.
I watched the Gotron episode. That was before.
Oh, that one leaked. Okay, yeah. So yeah, you got this one next.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it. It's just like I feel like it's more like how other cartoons are and less like how Rick and Morty is this season.
Maybe.
I mean, I laugh every episode. Like, not a problem. Still like it. The Gotron episode was incredible.
I need to get caught up. I'm trying to get through my Law and Orders because I think they're going to take them off Hulu.
You've seen every Law and Order.
Nah, not all of them.
Rob, it's 2021. How do you not have like every episode of Law and Order ever aired on like a fucking solid state drive?
That's going to be his heist.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to steal the Masters.
That's going to be his fucking heist.
Well, they'll just hire like Dick Wolf to find you, and he'll find you in like 5
his
minutes.
life will be complete as he spends 12 years in jail.
Yeah.
Dun. It's true.
All right, fuck it. Let's jump into it. Let's do some news, Rob.
Do some news. A whole heap and shot of news. So GW made a promise. They said everybody that wants to order a set of Kill Team will be able to. Not necessarily know exactly when you're going to get it. Hopefully it isn't a 4 to 6 month wait like Indominus was. But I think it's the thought that counts in a lot of cases. So just knowing that you're going to get one locked in and there's potentially no FOMO is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, man, let's be real. Like, how many people buy these boxes and immediately pull them all out and build them and paint them? The instant gratification occurred when you purchased it. Like the transaction was the gratification. So if they give you that opportunity, you'll be happy.
So I think that's a great policy. That hopefully coupled with the queuing system, if they bring it back this weekend, will allow, people to get in and get what they need. And hopefully a lot of folks are actually able to score this set. Now, don't get it twisted. A lot of this stuff's going to be available separately. If you aren't interested in the Deathcore guys or the Orc Commandos, basically you can buy everything you need separately already. You can get the core rulebook. It's $50. You can get the compendium, which is going to have all the kill teams and all the operatives for $50 as well. The TAC Ops cards, apparently you need those. I don't exactly super understand it yet, but those are $18. Both of those, besides the compendium, are going to be in the box too. And then there's something called a Killzone Essential Set, which is like the weird templates and like all the cardboard punch out tokens and things.
Game aids.
That's all the game aids we love. That's $35. So that plus the value from the core, the core book, the TAC Ops cards, there's actually pretty serious value. We broke it down over on Spiky Bits. I think it ended up being about $180 worth of value, which was the same as the last Kill Team box that came out in 2018. Problem is that box was $130, whereas this is $200. Now, these are very chunky boxes. They're going to come with a lot of terrain, a lot of models, a lot of game aids. So it's kind of like a self-contained everything that you're going to need right off the bat.
Rob, isn't that your favorite line? You got to spend money to save money.
Why are you using all my lines? These are my lines. Can't you use my lines?
Oh, apologies.
Yes, you gotta spend money to save money. So I think if you're interested in the models in there, it's probably a good to go pickup. The orc terrain will probably be available separately. It's probably going to be $150 for all that terrain. It'll be like a what do they call it? A kill zone format later on down the road. So, and the box, of course, is $199. It will go on pre-order this Saturday, and it's a 2-week pre-order period. So they will be coming out. What is it? What's 2 weeks from the 14th? So they should appear on store shelves on the 28th. It looks like of this month. So look for that, and all the accoutrements. There's dice sets for $35. I mean, if they're your thing, go for it. But I feel like there's better things to spend your hobby dollars on than the dice sets currently. But
it's always dice.
Well, then that we know how you voted. So that's all pretty cool stuff, of course. Now, something I did notice about the Hexfire box that came out. Obviously, they're in short supply. They're going to be very hard to find. I don't think the value's there if you're going to pay way over retail for it. But I thought about it. The new Crow model and the new Infernal Master model are obviously going to be available separately. I suspect they're going to go for $40 each because they're the larger sprues. They're a whole sprue figure. And if you look at things, they're about the same size of a sprue as a Drazar or Janzar, or even Lilith, which is a more recent new rebooted models. Mephiston, they're all $40, but they're all special characters, but so is Crow. So chances are they will be available separately. Both these codexes have pictures of the combat patrols for Thousand Sons and Grey Knights, respectively. So chances are there are going to be combat patrol releases down the road. And if I had to guess, I would say when the combat patrol comes out, they'll also release the singles as well for both of those factions. So probably look for those down the road. If you can't get Hexfire, it's a tough one right now. At least they gave stores 5 instead of 1. You got to take the good with the bad these days when it comes to allocations and things. So, yeah, that's just kind of how I feel about that. Some other cool releases to talk about for this week. Wargames Atlantic put out their French World War I infantry set, which is 35 models for $35.
That doesn't even compute.
Yep,
it's
just let that sink in for a minute. And they look good. Like they don't come with bases. Oh no. But man, you could really use these things for, guardsmen. You can obviously convert them up to look like they already kind of look semi-grimdark, but they have more, recent looking weapons. But the German World War II infantry were easily convertible to basically look like Death Corps. Not a whole lot of work to get them to that point for $35.
Damn.
I think it's solid value. And
obviously.
Wargame Atlantic is selling a lot of boxes of stuff, not just for historicals.
We have those in the store. A friend of mine picked one up just to see what the plastic was like. And
yeah, they're good.
It's definitely not like GW quality as far as new models go. They're 100% better than regular guard models that are on the shelf right now, but they're not as tight as the new stuff they've been coming out with. But they're still A grade A plastics, and the value is good. The little sprues they have in there is pretty nice.
Yep, I super like the quality of their miniatures for sure. We've been talking about them a lot on this on the channel. You can check them all out on YouTube. Most of the stuff that's relatable to 40K we've unboxed and built. If you're into the board game scene, Descent Legends in the Dark came out from Asmodee, Fantasy Flight Games, whatever. It's a $175 box set, but it's a chunk. This thing is probably weighs as much as the Kill Team box set that's coming out soon. It's just a lot of content in there, and you can supplement it with online play through their app as well, which was pretty neat. So that's about all I know about it, but Descent was like hugely popular back in the day. So I imagine this to be very well received as well. I'm sure there's a lot of other board game people out there that were like all about it and could tell you a lot more about it. But either way, look for that in stores. It's the big chunkin box. You'll see it. Monument Hobbies came out with a transparent line. It's very similar to the old one. They just added in a transparent white, which is great because there's a lot of uses to that. And obviously you can mix it to saturate down a lot of colors. Of course, I think it's normally 8 different paints. So now it's a set of 9. Definitely worth a look at because he comes with those twisty dropper bottles. And even though there's only 1 ball in there, we're not going to hold it against them. They don't have 2 balls like the Army Painter new air paints.
That's
but
right.
We still love the quality. Between Army Painter and like Pro Acrylic, like I don't think I've used a different paint.
Oh, you want a different way? I
contrast.
thought you were going to be like, between them, I have a lot of balls in my Beat Slab.
Yeah.
That's also very true. But it's not really that different than normal. So I didn't really want to cue into that. Speaking of balls, the Army Painter airbrush sets are on pre-order right now. They will be coming out in October. The Mega Paint set, which Wyatt showed you in the pregame, is 50 paints. So if you're counting along at home, that's 100 balls in it.
It's 60, actually.
Oh, there's 60 paints in there?
Yeah, there's 50 regular paints, 9 metallics, and 1 green fluorescent paint. Yeah.
Damn.
And
Wow.
in the
120 balls.
Over 100 balls.
Yep.
in the regular starter set, it's 12 paints and a 100 milliliter airbrush primer that is matte gray.
There you go. So the starter set is $39.99. Great way to dip your toe into airbrush painting, assuming you already have an airbrush. And the larger mega paint set is $180 for pre-order right now. Which I thought was definitely pretty worth it. Black
investment.
Templars. What's that?
So that's a solid investment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're pretty sick. I like these.
So Black Templar.
Yeah, so we saw a preview for the Emperor's Champion. I'm not sure at what point we're going to talk about that a little bit more.
Now. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Right now.
The rumor on the street was that it would be a Primaris Hellbrick, and he would be standing on a rock. But I guess you could say anything's going to be standing on a rock at this point for a new model in Warhammer 40K, and you're probably going to be right.
Seems like kind of a hedging your bet a little bit. Like that seems a little weak sauce.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's this model also standing on a rock.
Oh,
it's
hey,
that new model was standing on a rock. I was right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But something you might not have heard is the other rumor on the street is that they're actually going to get a codex, not a codex buster part of Psychic Awakening, not a combo thing with something else, an actual full-on codex for, I think, the first time. I don't remember a Black Templar.
They had one in 3rd edition.
Did they?
Yep.
There was, they had one for a long time and they rolled them into.
I don't remember
Codex
what it
Space
looked
Marine.
like in 3rd edition.
I mean, if they do, like
Black and white pages, they remember they couldn't take scouts, they took neophytes.
Yeah, they had the Sword
was
Brethren.
that
and all that
actual,
stuff.
or was it in Armageddon? Wasn't it in Codex Armageddon?
3rd edition codex.
When I started 40K, Black Templars was their own decks for a while.
They were very popular right on the army.
Oh, I do. Okay,
They didn't have character sergeants. Remember, because you could target a
remember this.
character, so your power fist guy would always get sniped by the squad. They had phantom power fists.
Yep.
Yeah, so
I remember this codex cover.
If they do get a codex, cool, I guess, but I just I don't know why, right? Like, why would you? Like, I can see them getting the same thing that Dark Angels and Space Wolves got, but that's still a supplement to Codex Astartes. I don't know why they would do.
I mean, that must mean that they're going to get something a little bit more
Yeah, like if they get a bunch of new units, like cool. They just don't have enough unique units.
Well, imagine they're going to be throttled. If they're going to get their own book like that, then imagine, because back in the day they were throttled. They didn't have access to everything.
But here's why that rumor is probably true. G-Dub said there's going to be a Black Templar army box coming out. So we know what the format of the army box is. We saw it with Beast Nagas. We saw it with Sisters. We saw it with Lumineth Realm Lords. So they basically include a codex, the cards, other stuff, either push fit or on sprue.
Interesting. So maybe they'll do like updated Sword Brethren.
Well, I mean, but we could be reading too much into it because doesn't like the Blood Angels has its own codex, but it's
technically a codex supplement.
So you're saying that this is not a supplement.
I guess if it says Codex Black Templars in the front, but it's still a supplement, like what's the delineation there? Like, well, I think if they got a supplement, that would be fine. Like they have enough like unique things, but off the top of my head, like all I can think of is they have like their characters and like Sword Brethren, and then that's all I remember.
And that's what like the Blood Angels Codex is like.
Yeah, they have
their Sword Brethren and their characters. Like
yeah.
So I'm just like, unless they just invent a bunch of new units that are only for Black Templars, I can't imagine them doing a standalone, separate from the Codex Astartes codex for them.
Well, that's actually not unprecedented either, because they did that with the Space Wolves. They gave them that special Reaver squad, Sons of Mordecai.
Right. So here's what I'm saying, right? Like Death Guard is separate entirely from Codex Space Marines, and they have enough special units where if I used no crossover units, it would warrant a full codex.
And it doesn't have a bunch of pages that say like, use the Chaos Space Marine Codex to look at the data sheet.
Exactly. Same thing for 1,000 Suns, right? Mm-hmm. So they have all these unique units.
Like and we have a lack of units. We don't get to use many of the units.
Now, I mean, it would be hype if they were like, not only do you get all the characters and Sword Brethren in this different Force Org chart, right? But we just made like 3 new units, like special Black Templars, like Castellan Terminators or some shit like that, right? Like some unique thematic.
Well, they could do the Black Templar upgrade box again, where you really just get a box of fronts to Primaris, and some cool looking.
I mean, if everything is different
swords.
though, let's say like Tactical Marines Firstborn, right? Let's say, because like remember back in the day, it used to be like their squad sizes were different than normal squad sizes. And
they had different war gear options.
And they can fill out their squads with neophytes. So you had mixed armor people. And so you can technically take these squads up to like 20 guys. And they had different rules on how sergeants worked. They had things like the vows and stuff, like always sit on 3. Remember you picked a vow before the game?
Oh, that's right.
Remember, like, so it was kind of like an OG mechanic that like, you start to see again now. I mean, because everything hit on 4s back then, but it was like, they were like, I picked a vow of always hit on 3s or whatever and shit like that. So like if they go that route and they give them, like something similar to chapter tactics and they give them this vow chart and even like Firstborn have a completely different unit organization, right? And are fearless in close combat or some shit. Like, I mean, I could see, like it's many of the same units you're used to. It would be some that you don't get but they'd all have their own flavors. So I mean, it did get its own codex, and it was very different than its contemporaries.
Mm-hmm. Same with Space Wolves. So
I mean, Blood Angels too. I mean, these were all the same fucking technical group of people, but they all did feel completely different.
I agree.
But it did lead to problems like Blood Angels versions of a Rhino being different than this unit's
Yeah, I don't think they're ever going to go back to that. So like my prediction is that it's going to be like a supplement like the Space Wolves and Dark Angels and Blood Angels have, but not like a separate codex the way that Death Guard is separated from Chaos Space Marines. But if they come out with like 3-4 like unique units that are like new kits, like probably new codex, but like I think what they're going to do is like a supplement.
Well, I guess we'll definitely find out.
I'd be happy anyway. I'd be happy either way.
Yeah.
And I think that I would be pleasantly surprised if they got their own codex. And it would be cool as hell.
Yeah. And then definitely look for
also that Emperor's Champion is sick as fuck.
Oh, he is pretty sweet looking. I'm sure he has some different options.
He is a baller. Like that posing, that fucking grip, that hand pose, everything.
Yeah, he's got his like little rosary beads like dangling from his gauntlet.
Very comic book-esque the way his hand is holding it, and he's like raising his sword and shit. Like it's a solid
cool
model. Like can't wait to get my hands on that little guy.
World Eaters Codex. Somebody in chat said, put a pin on that. Sooner than
I too want a.
Pretty sure every Chaos Space Marine fanboy in the history of this hobby at this moment in human history is like, yeah, we need one of those.
Yeah. Well, we got to get Chaos decks first, then World Eaters. Soon.
I mean, we got a Death Guard Codex and a Thousand Suns Codex.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, honestly, if they're going to go on the trend of doing the cults first, fucking do it.
They're not.
Yeah.
Nah.
I mean, I would say the exact same thing. Like, as much as so I'm actually biased and I want a World Eaters Codex, but I also, thinking objectively, do not think Games Workshop will make a standalone codex unless they have already, like, 2 years ago, put into planning and production like a huge injection of new models and units for World Eaters, because other than the Lord of Skulls and Berserkers, World Eaters do not have unique units.
It even said that in the codex when it dropped in 6th and 8th, where it said here are all the rules for the cults except for Thousand Sons of Death Guard, because they deviate from, as a cult, they deviate so far they need their own book. And remember, we were waiting for that book, and it was even in the 8th edition codex.
Yeah.
So like they've established that essentially Emperor's Children and World Eaters don't deviate far enough away from the normal armor pool and war gear and way of doing battle that they need their own book. They would just have their own stratagems tied to their keywords. Chaos is unique in the fact that they have marks and units, right? Like, so every unit can have a mark. So like,
I think what we'll see first, like, I think the most realistic option that we'll see in the near future is an Army of Renown that has something to do with World Eaters. Yeah, rather than like a whole book. But I mean, like, if I am proven wrong, that's what I want to happen. Because like, I want Angron. I want like 5 or 6 new units that are only World Eaters, the same way that Death Guard has unique units. Like, that's what I want.
Yeah, and it's easy because Chaos has got them demon engines anyway. And like, there's already tons of Forge World demon engines that like could just be like how the Contemptor became a plastic kit.
Yeah.
Like literally.
So I think we can probably agree that if the Black Templars get their own codex, that we're probably going to see.
You know what? That's a good benchmark. Let's see what happens with the Black Templar before it makes them hard.
Because G-Dubs sneakily kind of figured out how to turn one release into like 3, like doing the wavesies of Army Box. 2 months later, a wave. Another month later, or 2 months later, another wave, some independent characters, a combat patrol.
Yeah.
So you spread out.
I just wish they would do it like in a row. You know,
they won't. They want you to circle back.
You wish that because you want it, but they don't want. They want to tactically remind people what they want without overdoing it. You know.
Yeah.
It's like the double-edged sword about like knowing about new releases, but not knowing when we're going to get them. So like, we know that like Mazrog and the Great White Squig are coming. We know that the Kill Rig is coming. We know more Beast Knight kits and new boys, new Defcoptas, the new, like a bunch of kits. I think there's like 10 kits, but it's just like, whenever, cool. Like,
yeah, it's a good tactic because you're hype on orcs and you bought a bunch of stuff. So you're locked in as long as they remind you to buy them again. But while you're feeling that itch, they're going to get you something else that's hype. And since you're already itching, you're more likely to buy that hype. And then right when you realize you've been tricked into buying something you didn't need, the thing you did need shows up and you buy it anyway.
Yeah.
Like it's a pretty, I wish too they didn't do it that way. But I mean, luckily none of the things we buy suck. Like they're all sick plastic kits and they're fucking amazing.
Yeah, I've actually kind of like slowed down on orcs because like I want Mazrog's models so bad that I'm just like, I don't really want to.
That fuel is you can't trust it now.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to get a lot more stuff if they were going to like come out, the week after the Beast Nugget box, or like do a every other week type of orc release.
Remember,
but like now
Sisters,
I'm just like I just don't give a fuck about Orcs right now, even though I was so hype on them. So it's
Sisters came out November 19. The rest of the first release.
I'm just saying, like,
separately
every
2 months later.
Week they make me wait for that model, the less I want to give them money for it, because I have already gotten my own version. So for people listening, you can't see this, but I definitely do have a model of an Orc war boss on a shark-like squid.
I know where you got that
parts, right? So it's just like, this is cool, but I want the real one because the real one is
one of the sickest
stuff. Yeah, but it's like, if you keep making me wait, much like the heavy intercessors, there's only so long I'm going to wait to not play the stuff I want to play.
I can't prove it with any data, but my gut is that intercessor fiasco, like, was kind of like this the beginning of all this.
Yeah,
like that was a unit people were speculating on. They wanted it, were thirsty for it. Then they drop all this shit. And we can't get that model separately, and then we can't get that model separately, and then we can't release after release. That's a feeling that somebody can only only justify for so many times.
They do, right? They want to make cool rules to sell models and make more cool models to sell rules. Well, it's just like, if everybody could buy like 30 heavy intercessors out the gate when the new book came out, they would have sold so fucking many, and then like, people would have played with them for a few months and realized,
the eradicators too. So
like, these are cool, but they're not like the end all be all.
That was the moment when I observed. They missed it.
Everybody figured out that heavy intercessors are like, you only need one squad.
Yeah.
And
but people would have bought them. So like, and that's when I noticed the black market of 1-to-1s like explode. Eradicators and heavy intercessors.
Yep. Yes.
And so there has always been a black market. There's always been a 3D print maker market, right? There's always been something.
Yep.
But the 1-to-1 explosion that occurred, like, I think that was the tipping point. And GW's got to realize that, like, if you do that, if you give us sick models,
it's so weird too, because
with
like,
hot rules that we all want to use, and then you don't let us fucking buy them because you throttled the allocation, or you mismanaged this, or you blamed it on this, and then you still don't address that problem for like 5 months.
Yeah.
Now no one wants them because they figured out their own solutions.
It's like they keep like doing like these half-assed measures, right? And as my longtime mentor Ron Swanson said, never do anything half-assed. Do one thing whole-assed. Like, cool, you're telling us about stuff, like you're showing off these models, like here's a preview, this is coming down the pipe. Dope. What you should also do is say, like, it's coming in September. You don't have to give us a date, but just be like, Mazrog, the Great White Squig, coming in September. Well, and that will tide people over to the point when he does come out, they'll buy it in droves. But if you're just like, this new thing comes out fucking whenever, like,
the whole world is improved if people take accountability and are transparent. Every element of your human life is improved by that. Like, think about politicians, think about fucking bosses, think about coworkers. Every little thing you do, if it was accountability and transparency, you wouldn't even be mad about shit that you're mad about right now. Like, if someone was just innately transparent up front and then took accountability, you would have so little stress in your life. But that's not the case. And so GW Fault is very guilty of that. And so, I hope they learn their mistakes, because like those types of decisions, while they make them some profits, are developing a market that is not good for them, right? And so now they have to create this whole new like rash of like legal assistant hires and IP department enforcers and C&Ds, and then that causes more negative press, and then they have to solve that with PR.
Yeah, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost.
So like,
man, because I mean, like, people want it, and they want it now because we have the data sheet, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like every week that you make people wait without telling us when we can have the cool thing that we want, they're going to be like, well, this fucking STL is looking real good right now because I want to play this model on the table, right? So it's just like, he should have been like a set piece model that came out like almost immediately following the Beastnaga box. Like, I don't know why they're waiting this long, and I've seen people in the chat talk about October, and it kind of does make sense because like, if we know anything about GW, they're probably really pissy that Cromlech has co-opted Orktober. since the very
Not just
first
them.
October, like Games Workshop kind of like missed their great opportunity for October.
I feel like we were a big part of that.
Yeah, for sure. But now that there's another company that like kind of competes with them on the third party market that is like coming this October, all this dope shit, they probably don't like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they hold out.
GW is real trickle down economics, right? The onboarding of the third party market that has occurred, the amount of jobs that have been created, the amount of commerce that occurs simply because they exist is inspiring. And that should be celebrated more than anything. And you should honor the competition, right? Because only people who are afraid their shit isn't actually that tight are afraid of somebody coming into their market. So if you take steps to eliminate the competition without generating like a superior sense of distribution and community building, if you're looking for like a loophole, well, you guys know that guy didn't do this, right? Like, so fuck him. Like, if you're looking to like blame that dude or like undermine that dude versus like just outcompete that dude, to me, that shows an utter lack of confidence in what you actually do. You should welcome the competition because you should be confident in what you are producing. And so, especially, you should be proud of the amount of economics and commerce that occurs because you're at the top of that pyramid, like GW is. Like, so, like, to me, that's why I always just say, it's fucking baffling, man. Like, I cannot wrap my head around, because I don't think that way. I just simply cannot even empathize with their position. I can't put myself in their shoes. I can't see it through their eyes. I just, like, this doesn't fucking make sense. I have no frame of reference in which to relate to it. So, like, anything I say is just, like, a guess. Like, I guess the guy who runs the company, like, had a traumatic event once when he was a kid, and maybe he had like a weird dream about 3D printing, and then like he saw a therapist for 6 months, and then like hypnotherapy. Like, I'm like, I don't fucking know. How could you get to this position? It doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know, man.
Well, I think so it's kind of a double-edged sword, because they told everybody Killzone was coming out Kill Team was going to come out in August, which it did. They did say with the heavy intercessors delay, look, these are going to be out sooner than later. They said May. I think it was March. Normally it's 4 to 6 months kind of down the road. So they had been kind of telling people, but one of the things that I thought was kind of peculiar, like today, they're like, hey, there's going to be new war zones, new scenery coming out for Kill Team as early as next quarter. But depending on how many they sell, again, remember, stores don't exactly know how many they're going to get because they got to give G-Dubs their number.
I have a feeling that like there's going to be a lot of people that like end up canceling pre-orders in favor of like, oh, well, they have one at this store, so I'm going to like cancel my pre-order and get it here.
Yeah, I think once the numbers come in and they tell stores how many they're actually going to get. Imagine being a sales rep and having to do all this work, having all these accounts you got to call, and then you have to play the shell game with stock and who gets what in a week.
Rob, I can't imagine it because it's 2021. I feel like I would have like a spreadsheet and like a app and like a login, and people would just curate their own sales lists, and I would just sign off on them.
I'm not even sure why there is a sales rep. Like, why
like, it doesn't make sense, dog.
My store.
Let's like fucking please let me automate this task.
Yeah, I don't get any of it, but. You know, that's where the feel badsies come in. Like, once you start seeing the FOMO and the fear of missing and the perceived scarcity, and then things like that, that's where people start canceling their pre-orders. That's where they start going to G-Dub's store and ordering over there with their hobby dollars instead of the local store, because there's some trinket. You order Kill Team from us, you get this trinket, you know, which I don't know will happen.
Are we talking pogs or are we talking like models?
You know, it can be whatever.
If it's a pog, like I get it. I fucking get it.
It's a coin.
Okay. It's a point. It's a pog. I don't know. I'm making this up, but it may actually happen tomorrow.
Coins are just metal pogs.
Yeah, they're slammers.
They're slammers. Get that slammer. So just kind of keep that in mind. You know, they are trying to be more transparent. the problem with all this is we know that
Rob, they're not trying to be more transparent. They keep saying the same shit as early as next quarter, as early as October. They've always said it.
I honestly
that doesn't mean anything.
Say it like that's what they did with intercessors. They said it'll be soon. Like they don't tell you anything.
No, they said May.
They've been saying the same shit. Like, oh, it comes out
so when they say May, we all know they mean May 31st
until the last day of October.
Like we know they mean October 31st. Like just be fucking transparent. Say literally.
Honestly, I don't.
It can come as early as the last day of October. We're trying to, we are trying to make it earlier than that, but it could be literally the last day. Be fucking transparent.
I think they're just struggling with manufacturing in general. They have to make the new shit. They have to get the new shit out the door. They have to sell the new shit. And if you're running out of regular stock items, when the majority of your manufacturing capacity is going to making the new shit, because that's where your profits are. That's where your big spikes are. That's where your big sales are. You got to get that out the door and you got to be selling that stuff. So the restocks, that's why it's taking so long. But once they get all their infrastructure back online, which they said a lot of it would happen, their new facility and also their new warehouse here in the States, supposedly by the end of 2021 and early 2022, respectively, on both. So, look, there's always going to be something to point at GW and be like, you guys are assholes, F you. But when you compare, and I just did the article this morning about, it's not just GW fucking over game stores, guys. Like Asmodee, here, listen to this wild ride. So Asmodee makes Atomic Mass games, makes Star Wars Legion, makes X-Wing, makes the games like I talked about Descent through FFG, which is technically a studio now, not whatever. They, 2 months ago, told retailers, hey, we're lowering your discount. So retailers now have a 45% discount instead of a 50% discount, which doesn't seem that bad at first. It's a respectable discount. But when you realize that whenever you sell something, you have to put 5% more money back into it to restock it. It's not a one-for-one exchange anymore. It starts to be semi-problematic. Again, it's still a good profit margin for retail. So put a pin in that. They weren't raising prices. They just cut in the store's margin. Then the next month, they're like very towards the tail end of the month, cryptic email. They're like, yo, guys, you got to stop selling on Amazon. No more selling on Amazon. Nobody. Like, what? So the only people selling on Amazon right now, Asmodee products, Star Wars, X-Wing, Legion, Atomic Mass games, all the Marvel Crisis Protocol, it's all directly from Asmodee themselves. In a lot of cases, they sell less than the minimum advertised price they tell stores. Okay. Fast forward to this month. They're like, you know what? We don't like credit card fees. You guys got to pay the credit card fees now. Oh, and we're going to roll out this super dope new website. It's going to be awesome. You guys got to order on that, which we definitely said would be cool if GW did. They wouldn't even need reps. You could just go in and order the shit you want and boom, you get it. The rollout wasn't that great. People paying an extra 2.5% in credit card fees that normally they
on top of the 5% profit loss.
Ugh.
Yeah. So you're talking 7.5 points on when, and you can't sell on Amazon anymore. You can sell on eBay and you can sell on your own store. So it's just, that's all in the span of 3 months with Asmodee.
Damn.
Wizards of the Coast selling magic boxes online. Basically very direct competing with what stores could do. I don't know the exact prices of booster boxes and the cost. When I looked at it several years ago, based on what I knew, it was very hard for stores to compete. But I'll leave you with this. Dungeons and Dragons books. You can go to Walmart right now, buy Dungeons and Dragons books for half of the retail price. Stores can't even get it for that price.
Oh, shit.
So how the hell are you supposed to sell a D&D book in your own store when people can literally go up the street to Walmart and buy the same thing
and get a better deal than your discount than your retail deal?
So like, there's a lot you can look at and you can point your finger at and you can be like, you know what, this sucks, guys. And it does. But there's a lot more in the hobby to keep us engaged and have fun and just crack out and do your thing and let everybody else worry about the drama and the bullshit.
That's a good perspective
with your hobby. Like, it's not just GW, y'all.
That's a solid perspective that you've lent to this. Now, since we're kind of getting to the end, if we haven't talked about Thousand Suns,
my cabals.
Let's talk about Rob's cabals.
They're not necessarily mine. I'll share with you guys.
I want to know what a cabal point is, how you fucking get them, and what you spend them on. 1,000 suns.
So apparently you get cabal points just by including psychers in your army. So if every unit from your army, excluding unaligned units, has 1,000 suns keyword, your army becomes a cabal of the sorcerers. And the start of your psychic phase, your army is a cabal of the sorcerers. Generate cabal points for each of your army based on this chart. And each model with this ability that is on the battlefield. So Magnus gives you 4 cabal points. Aramon, Exalted Sorcerers, 1,000 Sun Demon Prince, 3 cabal points. Sorcerer, Terminator Armor, or Infernal Master, 2 cabal points. And Scarab, Occult Sorcerer, Aspiring Sorcerer, or Zangor Shaman, 1 cabal point. Now, what I like about this is, so you spend these in your psychic phase, and there's a specific key to how you spend them. And it seems like you're not going to waste them, because that would suck. So here's basically how it works. So the first one's called Imbued Manifestation. It costs 4 cabal points, which is kind of a lot. Because the only way to get that would be having Magnus or having Aramon and another sorcerer. So you have to have multiple things.
So let's say you have Aramon, a Demon Prince, a Shaman, unit of Terminator. So you have a 1 point. You have a 1-pointer, a 1-pointer,
right.
2 3-pointers, right? So you have 8 cabal points.
Yeah, okay.
That's half of your cabal points. So how good is this?
So now listen to this intro here. Use this Kabbalistic ritual when a psychic power is successfully manifested by a unit from your army. So you know exactly, you roll the dice, they try to deny the witch, it goes through, cool, I'm doing this, and here's what it does. Add 6 inches to the range of the psychic power's effects. If that psychic power specifies multiple ranges, the first range specified in that psychic power. So
if it says within 18 inches, target a unit, and then all units within 3 inches of it take splash damage, it doesn't mean that 3 inches goes to 9 inches. It just means that its initial
targeted range is higher.
Yeah, it's not a double dip aura. It's just the single range to land it. Now there's some other
that's
ones.
It. It's a 6-inch range extender for half my cabal points in this hypothetical.
Yeah, there's a bunch of these. There's 3, 6, 9.
Okay, take them down.
Yeah, there's 9 of them. The second one is also 4 cabal points when you successfully cast a power. If the psychic power inflicts mortal wounds on enemy units, after the inflicting mortal wounds, select one of these units and inflict D3 additional mortal wounds on that unit.
More useful. Physically does damage.
This one's 5 cabal points.
5 balls?
5 balls. After taking a psychic...
You're going with caps.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Do we like caps or like balls?
Caps. Okay.
Okay.
Use this one after taking a psychic test for a unit from your army. Add 1 to that psychic test. So
5 just to get a +1 to cast?
It doesn't. Yeah, but it doesn't say. It says use this after taking a psychic test. So you know if it fails. So then you can be like, oh shit, I'm only 1 off.
So the power is being able to see the result.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's different.
Yeah. So
that's useful. Because these are free. These cabal points are free. They're not command points.
Right. You get them based on the dudes on. Okay.
They're free. These are units I was going to take anyway. I was going to take Armana. I was going to probably take a Demon Prince.
Well, they still have to be in play on the battlefield at the time of that psychic.
Yeah, most things are.
Yeah.
So because I have my guys who are going to be doing spicy things anyway, I have this 5-to-1 exchange rate to make sure that I can pass this power. I'd pay that in the clutch. Yeah.
This one's 3 when it is successfully manifested. If it requires you to select a unit visible to the psyker for that manifestation, you can select a unit visible to any friendly unit with the ritual's ability.
Oh, that's a good one.
So you can snake around some line of sight.
Some fucking that's some fire prism shit back in the day. Linking fire prisms together.
And that one's not too bad for 3.
3?
I don't feel
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's too much of a stretch.
Literally smite. Like you can like have your super smite here and then bounce it off this fucking rubric over here. Like just simple shit. You know what I mean? Like, and the opponent might not see it coming. He's got his character kind of exposed. He's sneaking around the cut with some fucking occult fucking hobos, like the last two survivors of a squad, and he's like, okay, shoot your bolters at me. I'm actually gonna hit you with this fucking smite from fucking Magnus that does D6 damage with this guy. Like that's kind of neat.
And then spend four more points to do an extra D3. Got him.
Ooh, burn all the Cabal points right there. 7 of the 8, and you fucking just knock them down.
Because I mean, it's your priority. So like you can stack how you resolve Cabal points.
Ooh, I love bouncing mortal wounds off of off a mirror. That's sick.
I think you can also there's one where you can like arc mortal wounds off to another nearby unit.
I haven't got to that yet.
All right, let's get to it.
This one's pretty cool for 4. You just use it in your psychic phase. Select one psyker from your army. Until the end of the phase, that unit can perform the following psychic action. Echoes from the work, psychic action, warp charge 3. If successful, gain 1 command point. So
you can actually refund. You can actually exchange them for command points.
Yeah, I mean it's not guaranteed because you still have to pass it, but
having a resource conversion chart is pretty fucking sick. That's handy.
4 Cabal
and there's
points.
also interesting ways you can spin this, right? Because there's a secondary, which I also believe is a psychic action.
Yes.
And so even though it's like the psychic action is on a 3, but like, oh no, I rolled Snake Eyes, but I need this to like win the game. Well, I'm going to spend these command points, make it +1 to cast. Now it's a 3.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask this because like I don't know if it's still in the codex, but Astral Blast was a dope like power we got in the last Psychic Awakening, where you do mortal wounds to unit and then D3 to all the ones around it, and then we could stack certain relics to make it even like +1 to the amount of mortal wounds you do. It was really powerful.
Yeah.
So if that's still in the codex, then that's sick for doing extra D3.
It might be. They have 18 fucking psychic powers.
Yeah, then you can bounce that. So you can bounce Astral Blasts off the wall. Fucking just jack a little castle.
Using your balls to the walls.
Yeah. Shout out to the chat for reminding me about Astral Blast.
Actually not sure. Let's see. Astral Blast. I don't see it. It's not by that name. I don't think that exists anymore by its name.
Oh, Turbo Nerd. That's Greg. He has the codex. He's going to play Thousand Suns, so he's been like deep diving into this. I trust his word on it.
Let's check this one. So this is 7 Cabal points. Use this when attempting to manifest a psychic power. Do not make a psychic test. The psychic test is passed at the minimum required warp charge value.
That's solid as hell.
Shabam.
Nice.
Man, these keep going up. Holy cow.
So
All
that's
right.
Cult of Magic. So we still have cults. So this was the Cult of Magic special psychic power. So it's still in the codex and the cults. So that's cool. That's good. So that's an obvious candidate for some of this wall bouncing and D3 extras. And now 7 caps to auto pass a difficult to pass test. Solid.
Mm-hmm.
It's only warp charge 6 though.
Yeah. Astral Blast is an easy one.
One of the wild things is that one of Magnus's Primarch abilities is he knows all the psychic powers. So he knows 19 psychic powers and can cast 3 or 4 a turn out of that pool. And he can benefit from he can benefit from 2 Cabal rituals each phase.
Oof. Well, let's get to the juicy ones. So this one's 8. After psychic test is made for a unit, that psychic power or psychic action cannot be denied.
Ooh, so 8. You can do that. What's the psychic ritual from the GT book?
You can do that one. Yeah. So
you literally, as long as you have 8 Cabal points still, because that's one of the reasons like why that's not always popular, because you're always like, you can see an army that can like deny you, and you're like, fuck man, put a lot of eggs in this, do this psychic ritual action. But if you have 8 Cabal points, you get those points.
Seems like it.
That's nasty. I love how it says or a psychic action too. So they're telling you exactly what to use it for.
Here's another 8. It's called Psychic Maelstrom. When a unit from your army is selected to manifest powers until the end of the phase, that unit can attempt to manifest one Witchfire power that another Psyker in your army has already attempted to manifest during that phase, even though
it's pretty
same
sick.
Power.
So if we still have a lot of our psychic sniper powers and they're relatively unchanged, like
Astroblast is a Witchfire.
Yeah, it is, but it's not a targeted power. But if you had like Bolt of Change, Bolt of Zinch, like the Flames of Zinch, there was like one where you roll 9 dice, 6 is Immortal Wounds. There's one that's like Smite, but you need a Warp Charge 8. There's one that's also like Smite, but you need a Warp Charge 9. I used to use a combo like that when I was running that cast list, crushing it out LVO in 2018. And like basically every game I played, because of the range extender, literally every game I played, first turn I just took your favorite character off the table, like just sniper mind bullets. Like, and so if they still have similar wording in this book for some of those powers and how you can cast one of them twice, that means now you're dropping even more thick boys that are untargetable under normal circumstances. And Dew Bolt is a flat 3 damage now. Oof.
That's pretty good.
Oof. Okay, I'm all in on Cabal points.
All right, well, here's the last one. 9 Cabal points.
Caps.
After taking a psychic test, add 2 to that psychic test. So same thing as before.
How many points is it?
2. 9.
To add 2 to the test?
You might really need it.
So it goes from 5 to add 1 to 9 to add 2.
That could be the
auto pass was 8?
The auto pass was 8.
It's an interesting scale.
Right. But it says it passes at the minimum value, right? So if something is Warp Charge 7, it's a 7. I can deny it on a 7.
8.
Or I guess an 8, right? So this add 2.
Oh, okay. The auto pass is 7. That can't be denied is 8.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Makes more sense.
But I mean, I like this. It's a lot, but it could be, that could save your bacon. So I think it's really useful.
And when there's usually powers in there that say like, and if you roll a 12, this is the chart,
Right.
So anytime you roll a 10,
that could be your super smite to kill that last tank for the 1 point of bring it down you need to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you don't know what you're going to need until you need it.
Yeah.
If you wait till the last second, it only takes a second.
And I don't know if that applies here, but
yeah, no, it's the same.
That's what she said. So that's actually sick. I think it's a 6 set of abilities. So it seems like you want at least 8 Cabal points. It'd be nice to have 9 so you can do all of them in the vacuum. The problem is Magnus is going to be one of your quickest paths to that, sort of. But is Magnus going to be hard to kill? I doubt it.
Yeah, especially without access to that 3+.
Like, he hasn't had the 3+ for a long time, and the way he mitigated that was by having to reroll 1s. Then they got rid of that. So like, if he's still a toughness 8 guy with 18 wounds, but his best save is a 4-up, and there's no damage mitigator, and there's no built-in, -1s to hit or anything like that, this man is getting dropped like a sack of potatoes, dude. Like, he is not ever surviving turn 1 when you don't go first.
That was one of the things we were talking about with my buddy. Like, they don't really have access to any type of like feel no pain type stuff. Like, one of the new Grey Knights mechanics is they have feel no pain against mortal wounds.
Oh wait, you have the codex. Flip the fucking Magnus.
Yeah, but he doesn't have it all. You don't know what all the psychics are and stuff.
What? No, I don't care about that. Look, I want to look at his fucking statistics. How many points is he?
You're very needy right now, but I'll tell you.
I'm needy? Motherfucker, that's your job. You have the codex.
Because I like you. 450. He's 450.
450. Okay, and somebody in chat says he has or Turbo Nerd says he has a built-in -1 damage, so he does have a damage mitigator.
All right, so what's he got here?
And he can heal 2 D3 wounds a turn? Oh, like from the psychic power? Or?
So this is weird. No, his weapon lets him heal. After the bearer has fought, select one enemy model. Oh, no, he does D3 to something that he attacked. He does D3 mortal after he attacks. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, he fucks. He always fucks.
He's got Cabals. Oh, I need to check his warlord trait. I'll do that in a second.
It's probably locked in those.
So everything core around him, 6 inches, reroll hits of 1.
So there's a psychic power and there's a stratagem that both heal D3. So I guess so.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, they used to. Yeah, I remember that being the case. God.
Oh, then he can pick.
Yeah,
he can pick a unit to reroll.
So like.
Oh, this is important.
Go ahead.
He has a 4-up invulnerable like we knew, but he never suffers perils.
I think. Okay. Cool. So bottom line, he's a little bit tougher than he was in the previous edition, but it's still like, well, there's already a lot of stuff that's going to be out there on the tables.
I don't think he's going to make it to the healing phase.
Yeah, he doesn't. They don't care about this shit. I mean, like, so just one of the things that I was talking about with my new chaos list is the decimators, where I'm putting out 8d3 shots that hit on 2s and reroll 1s, and all I got to do is roll 2s for mortal wounds, again rerolling 1s, where it's just like, yeah, I'll just pick Magnus up and there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, my boy will take 10 to 12 mortal wounds before I even fire my first traditional bullet at him.
Yeah, exactly. But on the opposite side of that, the Grey Knights are probably going to be the more annoying ones because they do have the feel no pain against mortal wounds.
Yeah, I mean, Magnus seems dope, but I mean, Mortarion can survive turn 1, and he does, but a lot of times by the skin of his teeth, with also -1 damage, also a 4-up invulnerable, a higher toughness breakpoint, and 5-up feel no pain. Like,
he's also higher. Yeah, you said higher toughness.
So like, I don't think Magnus is going to be the truth.
Oh, this is interesting. Hold on a second.
Yeah, because like one of the big things is like Morty being T8 mitigates Melta fairly well.
It's the best breakpoint toughness in the game.
But then Magnus being T7, he gets like pooped on by Melta, and not even to talk about Ballistari fucking Cognis las cannons.
So Magnus gets 3 warlord traits?
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot like, I bet it's exactly like Mortarion. Like, so like all these special rules, just like remember when they showed us Mortarion, and we didn't think he had a feel no pain, but he did because it was revolting resilient. Is one of his 3 warlord traits.
So he knows all the psychic powers, which we knew.
18 plus might.
Yep, he has a subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of the attack to a minimum of 1. And he gives an extra Cabal's point.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. We don't need to worry. I just want to know his points, and I wanted to know what his damage mitigator was.
Oh, yeah, he can do two, excuse me. He can do 2 Cabal rituals in each of your psychic phases. And he can reroll denies, but he doesn't have a survivability besides the next one.
He has -1 damage. So I mean, he's dope. Don't get it twisted. And if we're playing most circumstances, like you're playing Rogue Trader tournaments, you're playing with your boys, and even in a lot of GTs, like you'll have fun with them. You'll even have games where you go second and he doesn't die.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like this is like Magnus lists with this new codex will 100% be able to cruise to like 3-2 records without much effort. Mm-hmm. But it's when you get into like top brackets that it becomes like, no.
He'll be a liability.
It's the exact same thing with Morty. Like
Morty is a liability at that high level, even though he's harder to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he stays. I mean, he could do some casting stuff, but he's not going to get to that point if you don't go
like,
first.
In some ways, my Lord of Skulls are like way tougher than Mortarion. And even they fall short at like top brackets. Like I do not want to play against 30 multi-melter shots or like 8 Ballistaris with fucking 16 Cognis las cannons. Like I don't want to see that shit.
No, and the thing is, you could strategically reserve him. Someone in chat mentioned like, can you deep strike him? I was like, you can strategically reserve him, but now you have 450 points off the table, and he can come in from like a weird side board, and then he can go further on turn 3. It's like people thought that would be the bee's knees with Mortarion. It's not the bee's knees. He's tight. Like the thing is, he's tight. You will have a 6 strong list. You will fuck a lot of people up with it, but at the highest level, he will become a liability for you, and you may be frustrated by that. And it is a turn-based game, meaning your whole objective to have a successful tournament experience is go second safely. And Mortarion has a lot more elements to go in second safely than Magnus, but he's also 40 more points, right?
Yeah, and then you still like you build your list around like Morty's big and scary, so people are going to focus him, and I'm going to use that to my strategic advantage with the rest of the army. Do the same thing with Thousand Suns, you'll be fine.
No, I mean I'm definitely going to have one. Yeah, I definitely would play one. It's just that'll be my biggest liability, right? You can get a lot of Cabal points with him, and you can bait people into wanting to interact with him. So like so if you turn your disadvantage into an advantage and just fucking radically accept that he's gonna get ganked, build that into your game plan, use it as an advantage where you can. You should have success. 40k is dope. A lot of models, a lot of movement, a lot of brain function. And Nicholas in chat says, unfortunately, 40k has turned into a just list building and less actual strategy. 40k has always been 60-40, in my opinion. 60% what you do.
And I would also say, like, if you, I disagree, and I'll say why. Like, if you have the time, try to look up some of the more recent, like, kind of top table stuff and watch how these guys are playing to the format of 9th edition. And you'd be surprised at how much of the game is about maneuvering and keeping your opponent from kind of interacting with you while you're trying to score points. Like the game overall is less killy than it used to be. Now you still have skew lists, right? Like I've been running a skew list, right? But I still didn't win a tournament with it. So it's just like you have to kind of watch what they're doing. We saw a lot of that at the California Team Championships last weekend, where like there were people that were playing these lists that didn't seem that strong on paper, but were scoring a lot of points basically by just playing the game. Like, I'm going to do these actions. I'm going to hold this objective. And it really wasn't about like tabling your opponent in the first turn. Like only skew lists do that. And those have massive break points when you're talking about strategy and scoring points and stuff like that.
Yep. But like I would say historically, this game that we play, like even those lists that like score points and outscore you, like more, I would speculate, and I mean, my feeling is that it's more than half of that success, like probably like 60% of it, is based on designing that element into your list in the Beats Lab with your brain, with your boys, and then 40% of it is actually doing it, like because that's why that list doesn't look strong on paper. They designed it that way. They designed it to do these functions. And so I've always acknowledged that 40K is slightly more about the list side of it. But like, if you're only at the place where you have to look at other people's lists to understand how lists are being built, you're not there yet. You got to be able to come up with your own off meta. You got to be able to come up with your own tricks. You know, you got to be able to surprise people, like Wyatt with his Lord of Skulls list, bringing that back in the 9th edition. You know, my man went 5-1, 9th place, just barely 3 points off of top 8 at Lone Star Open, one of the biggest tournaments that we've had in.
Oh yeah, and don't get it twisted. I would have gotten aced at the top 8 brackets with that list. Like, it doesn't hold up to high meta play. It just doesn't. And
he radically accepts that fact. Got his 5-1, almost made top 8, and he believes if he did make top 8, he would have been 8th place instead of 9th place. Like, but he came in and shocked and all with his own brand of army building. But a lot of people, they're not there yet in the development. And so they net list, right? And net listing creates that stigma, like, there's no strategy. It's like, well, if that was true, then why aren't these guys winning?
And even with my skew list, there actually is quite a bit of like, you need reps with it. It doesn't work out the box, right? And it's mostly because Lord of Skulls are Titanic, which means that they are at a severe disadvantage when it comes to terrain interactions with other units. So like knowing how all of that works and the tactical movement of using the Lord of Skulls is actually super important, or you can easily get countered and like, you can't interact with my whole army. I outscore you, like, and you didn't do anything. So like you do have, like, I have played that list a lot of times in a lot of competitive settings to be able to know how to make it work.
Facts.
Like it has some pretty huge disadvantages for being what it is.
That's well said. Rob, you did a good job reading from that book.
I said the words. I did the things.
Proper diction. when discussing balls.
That's all that matters.
It truly
Live
is.
my life by that book.
The unwritten book of the road. Wyatt.
Rob.
So that's it for this one. Make sure to head on over to thelongwar.net for exclusive content, early access videos. Become a veteran of the Long War today.